Hey, what's up guys? Everything Apple Pro here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the first ever exclusive Apple leaks on this channel, including some AirPods 2 stuff, some iPhone 11 features that you haven't heard anywhere else, including a waterproof mode. The new iPhone will work underwater. That is ridiculously awesome, amongst other things. So I've got a very big video planned for you today. Let's get into it. So I just want to give a very sincere thank you to Max Weinbach from the XDA Developer Portal. He has shared these exclusive leaks with me, and we're going to start with AirPods 2. A little update there for you. I know a lot of people have been asking about them. So AirPods 2, he says, will have a rapid charge feature. So this will charge from 0 to 100 in 15 minutes. It's kind of hard to believe with the included adapters we get with the iPhone that this would be possible, but this is apparently what his source told him, is that it will have a rapid charge feature. And not only just for the AirPods case, this also rapidly charges the AirPods 2 to 100% with the case in just 15 minutes. And that is awesome. So I'm glad Apple's working on that. Hopefully they bring that feature to the iPhone as well, because oh man, we know it needs it. And the source gives some more information regarding the wireless charging case. This is referring to both AirPods 2 wireless charging case and for existing AirPods. He says the actual case will be taller or wider. He doesn't know exactly which direction it'll stretch in, but the case will be wider. And this is to accommodate for that wireless charging coil. The design that we saw earlier may not be the actual indicative design of AirPods. And that's why I think Apple removed it from all mentions on the website. So that's just a presumption, but the actual casing will be wider or taller. The source also indicates that this wireless charging case will work with the Qi wireless standard. So that's also great news. And here's where things get juicy. The source indicates that AirPods 2 will indeed have a texture taken straight from the Apple Pencil 2. So Apple will indeed be putting that matte rubberized coating on AirPods, giving you a little bit better feel, I think. Maybe they'll hold in your ears a little bit better. Personally, I love the feeling of the Apple Pencil 2, so I welcome this grip on the AirPods 2. Skipping forward to a separate source, just tying this in all together with the AirPods leaks, supposedly a Spanish blog called Apple's Fera has a release date for AirPods 2. Take this with a grain of salt. This is an unconfirmed site with no track record, but they're saying Apple's looking to release AirPods 2 on March 29th. Now, whether this is an in-store date or just a pre-order date, we don't really know, but they're claiming that's the official release date. And this is coming just a few days after the March 25th rumored event, which Apple has still yet to announce. So I certainly wouldn't take this at face value, but March 29th, at least there's a date in the air now. Now, the source didn't directly indicate whether this is for the iPhone 11 or future iPhones, but wrapping this all in together, I would hope that this is for the iPhone 11. Apple is working on iPhones that work completely underwater. Apple's working on a display that can recognize your fingers even though it's completely surrounded by liquid. That is amazing. That is innovation. That is a feature that I see myself using, at the beach, in a pool, even here in the Pacific Northwest where it rains heavily and you get a few drops of rain on your screen, suddenly it doesn't work that well anymore. And this all ties in. Apple's been working on a display that works in the rain, and now they're working on one that works underwater. I'm sure that this is all related in the same technology, but so cool to see. So iPhones in the future, potentially the iPhone 11, could work underwater and with just water on the screen in general, like rain. And here's a cool one. I saved the best for last. Now I'm gonna pick up an iPhone. I know I'm doing the Android bet. I have that right here. That has my SIM card in it, so don't worry. I'm allowed to touch iPhones, I think. But Apple is working on an iPhone with a new generation of the Taptic engine. We know that Apple is heavily invested in the Taptic engine. They've already refined it several times. And now with the iPhone 11 or potentially future iPhones, Apple is taking the Taptic engine to the next level with potentially several in the unit of the iPhone. So the way he describes it is it's a Taptic engine directional precision, basically adding an extra layer of depth to the iPhone screen. So it's very likely the iPhone screen will be split up in a 9-grid layout, and wherever you click on the screen, you will feel a direct tactile input in that area. So say right here, you click, you're gonna feel a centralized haptic feedback right here. Right now, it's just a general feeling overall on the iPhone. I gotta tell you, it's miles better than anything on the Android, but Apple is taking their lead in development on the Taptic engine and taking it even further. And I love to see that. So it's pretty vague right now, but generally, the gist of it is that it's going to add another layer to your display, give you more tactile feedback in different areas. So it'll definitely feel like you're actually pressing on the screen in every corner of the display. Every surface of the iPhone will feel special. So that's super cool. He also finishes this off with iOS 13, and he says dark mode will indeed not be shipping with iOS 13. It's very likely it's been delayed until iOS 13.1. This is due to some internal issues. We don't know why this is. very likely it's a huge overhaul, and Apple needs to make sure that it's fully supported in iOS. So we might not even see it being announced at the event or alongside the iPhone 11. And here's some great news from the man himself. Tim Cook, at the yearly investors meeting at the Apple campus, he said this. He said he's never been more excited about the direction that Apple is going in, that they're rolling the dice on future products, and that Apple is really going to be taking a gamble here with some very exciting products in the pipeline. I like to hear that. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for giving us the hope that you're not giving up. And obviously, this is Apple we're talking about. A once $1 trillion company, soon to be even past that $2 trillion. So there's really nothing to worry about. Apple went into a little lull, and I know it. I know that they're gonna get their mojo back this year, especially because they're focusing on software, and now we have the evidence for it. Now, this website, ThinkNum, they've taken Apple's job listings for the past few years, and they've compared them to past job listings for hardware, and they're saying that Apple has never been hiring more software engineers than now. And that's a very good implication that Apple is finally focusing on software heavily again. The hardware game that Apple's been playing, they've been doing it very well, but they've reached a point where it's just diminishing returns. What else can you focus on other than software, improving what made you turn to an iPhone in the first place? I gotta tell you, using an Android just for a few days, it really makes you appreciate just how smooth and fluid the interface is on an iPhone. There is no comparison yet, and Apple's got the lead on that. They're gonna widen that gap even further now, and I applaud them. So big things are in store for us with iOS 13. Just a little clarification, what Tim Cook could be referring to when he says that Apple's working on some very exciting future products. Now, obviously, Apple's working on a car, or at least the software side of things with Project Titan. We know that Apple's also working on some smart glasses, or potentially an AR, VR headset combo. That's in the works as well. And of course, we've got the foldable iPhone. Now, Apple's not gonna respond to that for a while in the fashion that they've always done. It's just they wait to see what the competition comes up with, then they take that formula, perfect it, refine it, and then release it to the masses. So like this article here says, which by the way is a great article, I'll link it down below, Apple Insider makes a very good point and says Apple is in no rush to release a foldable iPhone. And jumping back to some iOS 13 stuff, I like to share this concept with you by Ascending News. It's gorgeous, it highlights some of those key little features that iOS needs instead of an overall revamp. And I like that. I like that attention to detail. So he's got the volume HUD here, a redesigned home screen, a redesigned call bar, great stuff. I'll link it down below. All right, going back to the foldable iPhone, we've got some developments here. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak wants a foldable iPhone. He says he's concerned about Apple's progress here because the competitors have already released their plans regarding these, but Apple is still falling behind. So he's concerned about it because he wants one. Aren't we all, Steve? And here's an interesting tidbit by ET News. They're claiming that Samsung is shopping around and that they've actually delivered a foldable display at 7.2 inches to Apple amongst other vendors. So Apple is actively working on a foldable display. At least they're testing out Samsung. Samsung wants to be the supplier of this, and it's very likely they will be going with Samsung because right now there's no alternative. If they were to release this within the next few years, otherwise I think they'd go with their own micro LED technology. And Apple's been granted a patent most recently regarding the durability of a foldable display. Apple's not going to do this, of course, unless it's durable. And this patent actually details a way where you can heat the pixels on the foldable crease or around there in order to raise the elasticity of that point and reduce harm over time folding and unfolding that display. So very cool. Apple is actively working on that. And I wanted to mention USB-C, the new 3.2 standard. It's an absolute mess. Whoever was behind this, the committee, you guys have made a mess of something that was almost easy to understand, but now we've got USB 3.1, USB 3.2, USB 3.2 Gen 2 times 2, and then we've got Thunderbolt 3, so there is so much going on with this connector. You would think that they'd, going forward, make it simpler, but they've even complicated it further. Anyways, this new standard, USB 3.2, 2x2, oh my goodness, that's a mouthful. This thing doubles the speed to 20 gigabits per second before USB 3.1 Gen 2 was 10 gigabits. And Thunderbolt 3 is completely separate, that's still at 40 gigabytes. And lastly, 2 new iPad models have been spotted by MySmartPrice in India, receiving their certification, basically saying yes, Apple is still working on these iPads and they are coming extremely soon. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Apple doesn't mention these at the event at all and then just silently refreshes them later. And I wanted to share this with you. Delta has received an update for modern devices. The Game Boy Advance emulator still hasn't been released, but I just wanted to share with you that it is being worked on and it looks absolutely gorgeous on the iPhone XS Max. I can't wait to share this with you, but I'm not able to share this just yet. Just wanted to update you that that is being worked on. Lastly, I wanted to mention I am still running 2 giveaways for the Galaxy S10, one with Aaron, Mr. Who's the Boss, and one with Keaton over from TechSmart. All the info down below in the description regarding those. Also, the AirPods winner, I drew one down below in the description. You know who you are. Otherwise, just wanted to say thank you. What a news day. The fact that iPhones are going to be working underwater soon sounds amazing. AirPods 2 will have a fast wireless charging feature, which is awesome, and amongst other things. So a lot to look forward to, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.